I just got this alert on my phone. I have this new app called Citizen where you put in your zip code and it tells you any kind of like crime or events that are happening in or around your neighborhood. I just got a Manhattan alert. At least 3 people were injured after multiple manhole explosions. What breaking news?
Where?
Why did it explode?
It says Flatiron District.
Oh, it's
Who
such
knows?
A nice district.
The other day it was like man with blowtorch at 9th and 11th. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll avoid that.
I actually thought it was weird that you would have that. I was just like, how are you not getting we have the craziest people.
It's fun. And this app is really fun, especially you live in a crazy town. Yeah.
Something's going to happen like right next to you. And you're going to be like, I don't know. I guess you'll be aware.
What do you mean?
I mean,
the guy with the blowtorch is going to be like 10 feet away from you sometime.
Good, I'll know about it.
I
so
love the
you
idea
think
that
I should just not know about it?
I don't know. You're going to be reading the app while he's burning you.
Dr. Phil is walking into studio as we speak. Yes, right here. Dr. Phil, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good. You've been on the show before. We got you in here before, and I told you how much you mean to me. A couple of your phrases have changed my life. I refer to them often. How's that working for you? That's one of my faves. I mean, you can't beat it. How's that working for you? Did you come up with that on your own?
I guess I did.
I mean, it's so good. You can't not answer that with like, well, it's not working out good at all, and I got to change my life.
Yeah, but, it's all about asking the right questions, right?
Yes.
I mean, we have to ask ourselves the right questions. I really got into all of this. I started thinking back, and I really got into all of this when I was 12. Because when I was 12, I really got focused on why people do what they do and don't do what they don't do. Mm-hmm. I've been obsessed with that one concept since I was 12 years old.
Right.
And since then, that's been a driving force in what I do.
What happened when you were 12?
Yeah.
Well, was there a moment?
Do you remember?
Yeah, well, what?
Yeah. Well, I was on a football team in Oklahoma City, and we had a game rain out, and so on the weekend, and so on Monday, the Salvation Army called and said, we have a team we kind of put together. Could we come over and scrimmage you guys? And our coach said, yeah, sure. And we had all the best equipment. I mean, the shiny helmets, a black with silver stripes down the side. And they showed up in 2 pickups, and it looked like the most ragtag team you've ever seen. The guy lined up across from me had on blue jeans for football pants, rolled up to the knees so they looked like he had on loafers for football shoes, a button-up shirt with masking tape number 4 on it. And we're snickering. We're snickering like, why doesn't he put it on with magic marker? Well, we're so dumb. We don't know he didn't put it on magic marker because that's his shirt.
Oh,
He's got to wear that to school tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we have all of this stuff, and here's these ragtag kids with nothing. So we don't kick off because it's just a scrimmage. They snap the ball. That kid hit me so hard, it still hurts when it rains. They beat us like they were clapping for a barn dance. I mean, it was like 50-0. And I'm thinking, I got in the car with my dad to go home, and I said, what happened? And he said, you just got your ass handed to you on a platter. That's what I said. Well, I was looking for a little more in-depth answer than that. He said, they're just hungry. They want it. And at that point, I was envious of those kids. I was envious of those Salvation Army kids. I thought, I want what they have. And I started focusing on why people do what they do and don't do what they don't do. Why are those kids so hungry? Why do they want it so bad? Because if they can do so much with so little, how much should I be able to do with so much? What makes them tick? And I started reading, and I just became fascinated with it.
Now, how did you make that drive for yourself if you did have everything? How did you create that kind of?
Well, for me, I started figuring out that you really are self-determined. You don't. I started really figuring out that you create your own experience. You you create your own drive. You don't wait for somebody else to do it for you.
Yeah.
And I've been very self-reliant from a very young age. So that became the ticket for me of being self-reliant. And that doesn't mean I'm a lone wolf. I surround myself with people that want me to succeed and are competent and help and all of that. But that's part of creating your own environment. You get people around you that are really good at what they do.
Well, we were unpacking some absurd behavior that we notice just living in New York City on the train and such. And I'd love for you to shed some light on why someone might listen to their phone at full volume when they have headphones on a crowded train and subject everyone to whatever video they're watching. What kind of person does that, and why do they do that?
Well, there's two answers, different answers to that. One, they're just very narcissistic and selfish. But if they're like watching the video, the people that do it on their phone, they want you to know how important they are. So they're talking not to the person on the phone, they're talking to you.
Yeah.
They're not talking to this guy, they're talking to you and you and you and you. And this is exhibitionism for them. So they're putting on a show for everybody there, and they love an audience, and they've got a captive one on that train, and they're going to use it. They are performing, and you cannot escape it.
Now, are you the type of person that will call that kind of behavior out in public, or do you think that it's more wise to just let them be?
No, I don't call it out in public. I label it.
Yeah.
And
with some masking tape.
Yeah, if somebody
just hands them a card that says narcissist.
yeah, that would be nice.
If somebody asks me about it at the time, I'll tell them right in front of the person.
Right.
But I don't say anything to the person. I just move on. It's like if I go to a dinner or a party or something, and somebody says, "Oh, so and so's getting a divorce. What do you think about this? What do you think about that?" I'm the last one to weigh in. Because somebody will come to me and say, "What do you think?" I say, "You don't want to know what I think."
Yeah.
Y'all just keep talking. I'm just going to eat my salad. Y'all just go ahead. I'm the last one to give advice.
But really, just in a public setting. But when someone's asked, I mean, you're the best at giving advice. I mean, another one of your Dr. Philisms that I use quite often is when someone says, "I don't know," you say, "Well, if you did know, what would you say?" I think that's so brilliant because you do have an answer somewhere in there.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a deflection. Somebody, I don't know. Yeah, you do.
You do.
You're just pretending not to know.
Yeah. It is so frustrating, though, dealing with certain behaviors, and you go, why do you do that? Do you find that the people you encounter on your show and definitely the people you're talking to in your new podcast, which I want to talk about. Dr. Phil has a new true crime podcast called Analysis of Murder by Dr. Phil. Season 1 is out now, which features the first exclusive interview with Gypsy Rose Blanchard. How do we pronounce it?
It was Blanchard until her mother added an E, so it would have a little panache to it, and so it became Blanchard.
Hilarious.
It was Blanchard until she added the E.
Well, and this is the story that is the show, The Act on Hulu. If you watch that, is based upon all of this. But you meet a lot of these people that you could just want to be. You're just so frustrated with. Why are you acting this way? Empathy is a big part of your job, I would assume. And can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because I feel like a lot of people don't even know what it is. I know I found out late in life what it is. People have sympathy, but what's the difference between empathy and sympathy?
Well, there's a big difference. Sympathy is really feeling compassion for, or feeling sorry for, or even having pity for. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in their position, stand in their shoes, and vicariously experience what they're likely experiencing in a situation. And you can tell whether somebody really has that ability or not based on a couple of litmus tests. If you want to know what they are,
yeah,
I'll tell
I love
you.
it.
Like, let's say somebody comes to work and they show up late. You say, "You're late. You're never late. Why are you late?" And they say, "Well, Just as I was getting ready to leave, my dog ran into the street and was run over and killed. Now, somebody that doesn't have empathy will say...
Are they holding an iced coffee when they say this?
No.
Okay.
No. Their makeup is all running.
Got it.
They're obviously upset.
Yeah.
Somebody without empathy will say, "Oh, really? What kind of dog?"
Oh, wow.
Somebody with empathy will say, "Oh my gosh, you must feel terrible about that. Sit down. I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
One reflects content, the other reflects feeling. So people that don't have empathy can reflect content because they don't understand feelings.
Mm-hmm.
People that have empathy will reflect feelings because they understand it. They can relate to what that person must be feeling because they say, if somebody killed my dog, I would feel terrible, so you must feel terrible. They can relate to it.
That's empathy?
They can put themselves in that person's situation and experience accurately what that person is likely to be experiencing.
But what if I've never had a dog? What if I never even had a pet? How do I experience empathy for that
loss.
person? Okay.
You know people that have experienced loss.
Mm-hmm.
You've lost something. You've had something
My
of value
phone.
taken from you.
Yeah.
You've had something that's
Yeah.
lost.
That's a good point. Okay, so I want to unpack. Okay, so you just you were in the middle of saying something. Oh, I said I lost my phone. That's what they're laughing at. I compared the two. You know what? Here's what I was thinking about was we all saw this report about this woman who dumped all these puppies at Coachella. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, you didn't see that?
7 puppies in a sack.
7 puppies in a sack. This woman, they later found her, but they went to her home and she had like 38 dogs at her home. She's one of these pet hoarders, you know, and she they have the footage of her putting the dogs in the dumpster in a sack and doing it so nonchalantly that you're kind of like, oh, she's done this before probably, and just acting without any like care for these dogs' lives. The dogs got found. They're fine. For the first time ever, instead of feeling just so angry at that woman, which obviously I was like, that poor woman, what has she been through to make it so easy for her to dispose of puppies' lives like that? Do you find yourself arriving at those kind of, is that growth for me as a human that I'm able to see, even empathize with murderers and people who've done horrible things? Because I go, even the Michael Jackson documentary, I'm like, what happened to Michael Jackson to make him do this? Like, and where does that end? I can go back millions of years to like what pain brought about this
it depends.
act.
It just depends on where you focus at the time. You can also relate to the puppies.
Yeah.
You can also relate to the victims of Michael Jackson, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't mean that you don't have compassion for the perpetrator as well as the victim, because you know this has to be a tortured soul.
Yes.
To have done that. So you can't understand that. I mean, I've been people have criticized me at times for saying that we shouldn't necessarily punish bullies. We need to treat them, because bullies come from homes where bullies raise kids. Mm-hmm. Bullies have been bullied. And you got to ask yourself, well, what is it that makes these kids so angry that they're venting this all the time? And if you want to stop it, you really have to fix the bullies, not just punish them, because all you're going to do is make them more angry.
Yeah.
So the bullies need help just like the victims of the bullies.
Yeah.
And that's not a popular sentiment. But if you want to fix it, it's true.
But isn't it the whole root of the criminal justice system is that we're punishing people that come from homes where maybe they stole because there is no food to have and they have no other way of making a living, or you know what I mean? Like there's definitely evil people out there, but I think there's a bigger majority of people that did something for reasons whether they know it consciously or unconsciously.
Well, the whole system is based on a deterrent, that if we punish these people, it will deter others from doing it. So you're basically writing these people off.
Of course.
It's like, you know, we're not going to worry about these people,
yeah.
but by punishing these 10,000, we'll stop 100,000 from doing the same behavior. which doesn't work.
It doesn't work
I mean,
that
it
way.
absolutely doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, you go warehouse people in a cage, and you don't do anything to rehabilitate them. You don't do anything to teach them to make a better choice, and then you put them right back in the situation that they came from, and wonder why there's 85% recidivism rate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, little Abner could figure that out.
It doesn't work. Well, why doesn't it work? Why doesn't seeing someone in jail and thinking I could go to jail deter people from going? Because they just can't see that for themselves. They just don't think it'll happen to them.
Well, because you're always the exception, right?
Yeah.
That guy's dumb. That
Yeah.
guy's dumb. They'll never catch me.
Right.
They'll never catch me. He was an idiot. I'm not.
We do just so many things to trick ourselves into doing what we really want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we'll find an excuse to do it.
Yeah, we'll justify it. And they're different. I'm different. It's not the same
Yeah, I'm
thing. But it is.
special.
You're not the exception.
Yeah.
You're the
So
rule.
rarely you are.
You're not the exception.
Yeah.
You're the rule.
Fill in the Blanks is Dr. Phil's other podcast. You have a new true crime podcast called Analysis of Murder by Dr. Phil, and then Fill in the Blanks is your podcast. You have your show, of course. Keep adding things. I always look at you and think of that man is so busy. What do you do to relax?
I come by here and talk to you.
This is work for you, Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
You're working right now. You're on a press tour. I mean, I can't even believe you're here. I feel honored that you've given me a moment of your time.
No, but I enjoy sitting and talking to you. I mean, I do.
You do.
I mean, can't you tell?
I can tell. I mean, like you wouldn't be doing this if you didn't like it. I feel like you
No,
do you do things you don't like anymore?
No.
That's great. When did you get to that point?
I don't know. It's
In your
been-
career, I mean, like, when you're coming up, you just say yes to everything. You're doing things that you don't really want to do to propel yourself. When do you go? I'm not going to do anything I don't want to do anymore?
I've been there a couple of times. I was in the trial science before. Courtroom sciences. That's what one of my other shows is based on. Bull, which is on Monday
Yes.
nights at 10:00. That's
Another show.
yeah. That's based on my life before Dr. Phil. I was in that business, trial sciences, which is consulting with litigation, crime, civil, whatever. And I certainly got to that point in that business where I just simply didn't take cases I didn't want to do. I probably took 1 out of 10 cases that was presented. We started out going after business, and very soon we were fielding business.
Yeah, it's
and
nice.
so we just took the ones that we wanted, not the ones we didn't. And at this point, some of it I think is age too. You get to the point where it's like, life's too short. I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah.
I'll do what I want to do and not what I don't. But I love what I do, so.
Let me ask Dr. Phil this. You get a coffee and it tastes you spend $5 on a coffee.
Okay.
And it's not made the way you wanted it to be made. You take your coffee specifically. Do you have specific coffee orders, or are you just like whatever?
Well, I don't drink coffee.
Okay, well, let's say you're getting something that you like.
I get it.
You get it. You
I'm
can get
just
there. You're a
jacking with you.
professional.
A different
I'm
drink.
just jacking with you.
So, and it's not up to snuff, and the coffee shop is busy, and do you go up and ask them to get it right, or do you just go, I'm just not going to drink it and throw it away and take the loss?
No, I go ask them to get it right
And why is that? Why do you think people should?
because I want it.
Because you want it.
Yeah. I mean, if I didn't want it, I wouldn't have ordered it.
But aren't you being annoying? And don't they make minimum wage? And aren't you making their lives harder? Aren't all these things we tell ourselves when you get the wrong food order and you go, oh, they put cheese in my salad and I don't want cheese and I didn't ask for it, but I just don't want to be annoying, so I'll just let it sit here. And she comes back and she goes, did you not like this? And she's like, oh, I just am not hungry anymore. And we just lie to them even though they got it wrong.
No, I can be very charming.
Yeah, you can do this in a charming way.
Yeah, you really can. You can fire people in a charming way.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, will you fire Andrew right now in a charming way?
Andrew, please.
Please?
Yeah, I mean, you really can. You can.
I felt that.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything, but I feel like I'll be leaving soon.
Yeah, you're not going to be
Take
back
off your
tomorrow.
headphones.
He's like, you're not even worth a word. I get it. I'm leaving.
No, my attitude is I try to make sure that people feel better about themselves after interacting with me than they did before. And it doesn't matter whether it's a waiter or a checkout clerk at the grocery store or whoever. And that's a pretty good rule, actually. If you can engage people in a way that they feel better about themselves after interacting with you than they did before, that's going to work for you pretty well in your life.
That is a good rule to take out that I'll remember.
So people, if you're at a restaurant and it's taking forever for them to come take care of you.
Yeah.
They can walk up and you can say, "Well, it's about time." First off, I'm not doing that for somebody who's going to take my food behind closed doors.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
But instead, if they walk up and you just say, "Boy, they should give you skates tonight. You are really running around here, aren't you?" And it's like, "Oh my God, thank you for saying that. We had 2 people not show up tonight."
Yes.
And you say, "Well, I can tell, but it's okay. But we'll tell you what we need, but we'll be all right. Don't worry about us." You're going to get the best service there, and they're going to appreciate you. And it just takes so little effort to make somebody feel better about themselves and to appreciate you doing that.
Yeah.
I've noticed that the most with when you call like customer service, because it's always a complaint. You're not calling customer service because you're having something great happen. But what I've noticed is they didn't make the rules. So I've always gone in and been like, "Hey, I don't want to shoot the messenger. This is what happened on my Delta flight.
Yes.
I know it's not your fault, but I kind of need to be compensated. I missed 2 flights because of it. Because of work, I didn't you know what I mean?" And you start to lay it out, but you kind of let them know, like, I know none of this is your fault. You answer phones.
Yeah.
You don't make the rules, but you have to, and you start to take them kind of on a journey. And I don't know why I'm able to do that much better when it's faceless. I'm able to kind of stick up for myself.
Yes.
But when I see a barista is like dead inside and tired and doesn't want to be there, and all I think is, I know this dairy is going to hurt my stomach.
Yes.
I'm just going to go. You know what I mean? And I do. I every time I'm just like, I can see, it's almost like empathizing too much, because I see her, I was her, and I go, why am I have $5. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go.
There are 2 really important things, though, that we don't do enough in this country. And one is eye contact. People don't look each other in the eye enough. And use their name.
Oh, that's
like
so
how to win
good.
friends and
Find
influence
out their
people.
name.
Yeah.
Makes a big, big difference.
Okay.
Because you disrespect them if they're faceless. But if you look them in the eye and call them by name, makes a huge difference.
What's my name?
Nikki.
What's my name?
You're not here anymore.
You did it.
You're on borrowed time.
You did it. Dr.
And-
Phil, everyone. I just got, I feel a profound change because he looked me in the eye and said my name.
So I walk in, I'm all high as fuck, and I never get high, and I think it's a party.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
Freshman
lot
year.
of people packed into your dorm. Wow, suddenly my dorm room
It's party
is the
time.
place to be.
Yeah, it's the hottest
All
ticket.
these girls.
I know her from the face. You would look through the book,
Yes.
and I'm like, oh my God, Shelly's here, Stacy.
Everyone.
I know
And you
every-
walk
I
in,
circled
you're high.
these girls. I'm high. I'm like, party. I should have. This is my dream. It's the first month
Dream.
of college.
You're Van Wilder. You're
I'm
about
Van
to
Wilder,
be Van Wilder.
and I got a pump cock ready to go.
You pump before class.
It's pumped. I can put it 69 times. Walk in. I see my roommate reach for the drawer. I'm like, that's not your side, Seth. It's not your side of the room.
It's not his side.
What are you doing on my
Seth,
side?
what are you doing?
Seth, go to your side.
Oh no, that's the drawer that I keep my penis pump in.
Oh my, that's.
You're putting it all together.
And he reaches and he pulls the pump, swinging it like this. He's swinging
Swinging
it
the
like
pump.
David fought Goliath. When he threw the slingshot.
North Carolina,
Take
come
your
on
shoe-
and raise up. Take your penis pump and spin it around your head, kind of like a helicopter.
Like a lemon party. Yeah. And he goes, what the fuck is this? what is this? Yelling, what is this? And it gets real quiet. Everyone looks at me.
Is everyone laughing and hooting and hollering?
At this point, no one yet. Everyone's quiet.
Everyone's quiet?
And he goes, what is this? Everyone's looking at me. Because no one really knows what it is. Like, there's
Oh,
no
no one
internet.
knows.
Like, no one, people have an idea of what
I mean,
it
it's
is.
cylindrical. There's something. There's a way that maybe someone could think a penis could be involved in this, but
Yes.
it is inconclusive at this point.
Inconclusive. And he goes, what the fuck is this? And I
He's
go,
mad.
I look at everyone and I just go, here, that's my penis pump. And that's when the laughter. Remember when Billy Madison, when the clown falls and breaks his head? That's what the scene was like. The laughter on every hot girl's face. It was so intense. The pointing, I mean, it was like everyone was just yelling, little dick, little dick. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Wait, they are not saying that?
They're not yelling. They're not chanting that, but in my head, that's what I'm hearing is tiny dick.
See, I want to just stop you right there. If I were a girl and I saw a guy had a penis pump, I would just think that he probably has a big dick because he's been pumping. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, he has a
Where
small
were
dick.
you then?
But that's what everyone was thinking in that room. I guarantee you, they weren't like, oh, he has a small dick. I don't know. That's not where I would have gone.
Well, that's where I went, boy.
Yeah.
And then I was so stoned that I threw the pump, and it broke on the ground, I remember. And I was like, I need it. And I was like so sad. I was like, fuck.
$40.
$40 down the drain.
Did it haunt you for a while?
Yeah, I didn't leave my dorm room. I'm not kidding, for 3 weeks. I would look out the window and be like, what are the regular dicks up to? With no pumps. And then I'd be like, and then I'd walk down the like when I finally like left, I'd be like looking around, like I would like hide under trees, like if I saw a girl that was in the room.
That had been in the room and seen your pump?
Yeah. And then I didn't lose my virginity till the end of that year to a girl that wasn't in the room. Yeah.
Have you ever pumped again?
No, that was fun to be quiet like that. I haven't pumped. I would pump now.
You would pump?
I have no problem with the pump. It was a young thing where it was a big thing, but now I would have sex with a pocket pussy, a butt pussy, any
A butt pussy?
like
What's
the
a
one
butt
that comes
pussy?
with a butt.
Oh.
I would do all of that. I would go in a store and
I'll take this whole wall.
I'll take the whole wall of pumps and I'll pump in front of all of you because I'm secure now. And I wish that brain was in that kid because I
Why
could
don't
have
you
been.
talk to a child at home that might be interested in purchasing a pump and let them know what have you learned from what's changed for you from that freshman year when you felt so embarrassed to have that pump and you stayed inside for 3 weeks because people knew you had a penis pump. How have you gotten to this point where you would pump in front of anyone now? In fact, he goes and pumps in front of freshmen at college every year in honor of this event that happened to him. To celebrate it and to honor it, he'll go pump in front of an entire school, an entire class, right?
Yes, I do that. This is what happens. When you get older, you realize certain things are important, okay? And then when you end up getting defeated over and over again, horrible things happen to you, you start putting things in perspective. Perspective is very important. At that time when I was 18, the worst thing that ever happened to me, well, I got stabbed. But other than that was the penis pump. So I didn't have other things, and my parents divorced. That was sad.
Okay.
And my grandpa died, and we killed a snake once. That died actually a couple years before. But the pump was bad, and I didn't have perspective then. But now that my life is a shambles, I was a dog walker, I'm in debt, I have Q-tips used in my pocket sometimes, I don't clean my sheets, I don't have all my teeth. What else is wrong with me?
You mispronounce things all the time?
I mispronounce words. Cause
You have a speech impediment?
I have speech impediments.
You often will have your stomach hanging out.
My stomach will hang out sometimes like that. And then my
and
hair.
you won't even know. He'll just be a
Yeah.
39-year-old man with his stomach
So
like this.
my point is that now a pump isn't that big of a deal. So turn your life into shambles. Get into some trouble out there. Get anal fissures. And then the pump won't be so bad, bro.
You just saw a clip from You Up with Nikki Glaser. Check here every Tuesday for a new clip from my radio show, You Up with Nikki Glaser.
From our radio show, with You Up with Andrew and Nikki.
Never.
Andrew Collins' radio show, who happens to have Nikki on sometimes.
Okay, we all know that's not true.